So today we'll be learning the last design philosophy, that is ultimate load method. Let's start with it. So again, starting with our normal stress strain diagram of concrete and steel, and let us see what factor of safety ultimate load method prescribes. So for concrete, the factor of safety that ultimate load method gives is 2 by 3. So the FCK is divided by basically it is FCK divided by 1.5 basically, right? So that is going to give you 2 by 3. So it's 2 by 3 times FCK, correct? So this strength is 2 by 3, and for steel it does not prescribe any factor of safety, so steel will remain Fy itself. So this is the major distinction of ultimate load method as compared to the other ones. Again, we'll just rotate this anti-clockwise and try to impose it over the cross section. So if I take this diagram here and if I just flip it over, this will give me my stress diagram for concrete as well as steel if I want to show them together. So steel is here, it is having Fy, and concrete having a maximum ordinate of 2 by 3 FCK. Now we know that for finding the compressive stress and for finding the tension stress, we have to take into consideration the area of that, especially when finding the compressive stress, we take the area of this stress diagram and we multiply it with the width. So it is essentially a 3D diagram, right? Stress block diagram. But finding the area of this diagram is a little bit complicated and it would result in unnecessary extra calculations. So what we can do is, since we have to find the area of this, right, we can assume that area to be a simple rectangle of which the width is 2 by 3 FCK and depth is, I'm denoting it by A, which is equal to beta into XU. So basically what I'm doing is that this area of this rectangle, it would be almost equivalent to the area of this block. Okay, I've basically simplified it. This is called as Whitney's stress block. This is the name for this is Whitney stress block. In some other textbooks, you will find this FCK replaced by FC dash, and it won't be 2 by 3, it will be some other value. FC dash is basically the compressive strength found from testing a cylinder, and FCK, which we use in India, it is compressive strength which we test on a cube. So this is basically a cylinder of 300 length and 150 dia, and this is a cube of 150 size. So in the other codes, in the foreign codes, they prescribe testing of cylinder and we use cube. So this you will be studying in a different subject called as concrete technology, why cube and why cylinder. Anyways, yeah. So this depth A of this stress block is given by beta into XU, where this is your XU, and this beta is equal to 0.68 up to and including 35 megapascals. So if your FCK is of 35 and below, then you can directly take beta is equal to 0.68. But if your FCK is above 35, then for cube strength above 35 megapascals, beta is to be reduced at a rate of 0.05. So this value will be decreased by 0.05 for every 8.75 megapascal increase in this in excess of 35 MPa. But this value should not be reduced below 0.52. So if it is going below 0.52, you should take 0.52 itself. And there is also a formula that can be used. This formula is given in the book of Design of Reinforced Concrete Structures by Subramaniam N. It says 0.68 minus 0.05 FCK minus 35 upon 8.75, and this is applicable for when the FCK is greater than 35. If it is less than 35, the value is 0.68. If it is greater than 35, you can use by this formula. But again, it should be greater or equal to 0.52. If it is less than 0.52, you take the value to be 0.52 itself. Okay. So we take this as a stress block diagram. Again, for finding compressive force, it is now become very easy. It is this area multiplied by the width. So C is 2 by 3 FCK into A into B, and T is Fy into AST. Again, for finding the actual depth of this A, what we will do is we will equate them both. We will equate C is equal to T. So 2 by 3 FCK AB is equal to Fy into AST. So A is Fy AST upon 2 by 3 FCK B. This is your actual depth of A. And if you want to find the neutral axis depth, XU, actual neutral axis, then you just have to equate this like beta XU will give you Fy AST upon 2 by 3 FCK B. So knowing the value of beta, again if beta comes down into beta, this will give you your actual neutral axis depth. Alright. And MR will be 2 by 3 FCK, that is basically C into what would be the lever arm. Lever arm is this, and that lever arm will be D minus A by 2. D minus A by 2 will be the lever arm. So C into lever arm is 2 by 3 FCK AB into D minus A by 2, or it is T into lever arm, which is Fy into AST into D minus A by 2. So these are the moment of resistance. The maximum depth of this A is taken as 0.43D for balanced section. So for balanced section, maximum depth of this, okay. And mu max will become 2 by 3 FCK into 0.43D into B into D minus 0.43D by 2. That is, I just substituted this A max here instead of A, so that will give you your mu max for a singly reinforced beam. It comes out to be 0.225 FCK BD squared. So again, if you see, this A max is not dependent on the grade of steel. It is a value taken from the reference books, and this method is again not given in our current revision of IS 456. It used to be there in IS 456, I guess 1983 or 1986. In that IS code, the ultimate load method was there, but in the current one, these steps are not there. So yeah, mu max is 0.225 FCK BD square. Now what I'll be doing is that I'll be marking out differences in WSM, LSM and ULM, and we'll see that in what ways they differ from each other, and what is the significance of each design philosophy. So let us start with the stress strain curve of concrete, because stress strain curve of concrete is more important than that of steel. So this is the stress strain curve of concrete with FCK. In WSM, we had studied that the stresses have to be limited in the elastic region of the stress strain curve. So it is seen that generally the elastic point of the stress strain of concrete is at around FCK by 3. Okay, it is not always equal to, but it is almost equivalent to FCK by 3, and till this point only our working stress method stresses can lie, and I hope you have studied this, that the area under the stress strain curve is nothing but the strain energy. It is the energy given by that material, or it is the energy utilized of that material. So you see that in WSM we are utilizing this energy, this much energy. And again, since we have considered it to be linear, therefore we are not even taking consideration of this curve. We are directly joining this point, the point of zero strain, to this point of elasticity within which the stresses are elastic, and we join it by a straight line. So WSM is a triangle. For LSM, we move beyond this point. We move beyond the point of elasticity. We stop it till a particular strain value of 0.0035, and we also take into consideration the curvature of your curve, of the stress strain curve. So this is the energy that we are using in LSM. You can see how much more it is as compared to WSM, and please note that this is not the actual value that we use in LSM, because the actual value we use is 0.44 FCK after dividing it by factor of safeties and all. But this difference I am just showing you to see that till which point we go in LSM and till which point we go in WSM. And for ULM we go till the last point. So the entire strain energy or the entire energy of the concrete is being utilized in the ultimate load method. This much energy is being utilized in limit state method, and only this much energy is being utilized in working stress method. So you can see that which is the most safest of them all. In working stress method we are only utilizing this much, and this entire thing is a reserved energy which we have not yet used. So if in case in future there's some loading, unexpected loading which comes, then the concrete has a lot of reserve energy which it can use. Correct? In limit state method, after utilizing this much energy, we are still left with some spare energy. Again, that can be utilized in some unexpected cases, but in ultimate load method we are basically considering the entire strain energy. But also care is to be taken that in ultimate load method we do apply factor of safety. So it is not that we are fully stressing the concrete, we are keeping some factor of safety, but in terms of its stress strain curve we are utilizing it completely. So I am differentiating it first based on the factor of safeties that we are using. In WSM, we know this table 21. We have studied in previous lecture. And if I just divide this 10 by its respective sigma CBC, I will get the factor of safety. So it's 3.333 here. Then again 3, then 2.857. Basically, you see that all of them are in approximately equal to 3. So I can consider the average to be 3 and the average factor of safety to be 3 of concrete. Of steel, here it is for mild steel. Basically, if I divide 250 by 140, I'll get 1.7. 250 by 130, I'll get 1.92. Similarly, here for 415, if I divide by 415 by 230, I'll get 1.8, and again here 1.8. For 0.555, it is if I take inverse of 0.55, it is 1.82 almost. So this is your factor of safety. And again, if you take the average of all of them, you can see that they are almost equal to 1.8. So it is in the range of 1.78 to 1.92. In LSM, the factor of safety is 1.5, which is applied twice. So total is 2.25. So 2.25 for concrete. For steel, it is 1.15. Again given in the clause 36.4.2.1. So for steel, it is 1.15. For ultimate load method, we saw that it was 2 by 3 FCK, which is basically FCK divided by 1.5. So 1.5 is factor of safety for concrete in ultimate load method, and 1 is the factor of safety of steel. So this is the difference. As you can see, we are applying most the highest factor of safety in WSM and lowest in ultimate load method. Next we will move on to stress strain parameters. So again, this we have studied that the stress diagram of in WSM is a triangle. In LSM it is a parabola as well as a rectangle, combination of both of them, and here it is a rectangle. So the stress block, again if you see in WSM we are not taking into consideration the curvature, so this extra energy we are leaving there, but here in LSM we are considering that extra energy also. Let us calculate the moment of resistance of each and compare that value. And this is just for an example. I am taking Fe415 grade of steel. So for Fe415, we know that moment of resistance of WSM is half sigma CVC kjBD square, or basically QBD square, right? K and J for Fe415 you can find from the design table that we had studied previously. And sigma CVC, I will take FCK by 3. It's approximately equal to FCK by 3. Correct? This sigma CVC. And these are the values of K and J. So if I solve this, what I get is 0.0488 FCK BD square, or I can even say that 0.05 FCK BD square. This is the moment of resistance in WSM. For Fe415 in LSM we have a direct formula for moment of resistance. It is 0.138 FCK BD square, and for ULM you saw that mu max was 0.225 FCK BD square irrespective of the grade of steel. Compare these values. What moment of resistance gives us is that how much our concrete we are assuming that how much our concrete is going to give resistance to the coming load, and we see that in WSM we estimate the least strength of concrete. For the same given concrete, understand this very carefully, for the same given concrete, if it was designed using ULM, we would have taken this moment of resistance 0.225. But same concrete, if we are using designing with WSM, we will just assume 0.05. So you can see such a large difference. And why is that? It is because in WSM we are keeping a very large factor of safety, right? Whereas in ULM we are not keeping that much. So which one is better? If I ask this to students, generally they would say that WSM is better because it is giving you more safety, correct? But along with that more safety, yeah, that is agreed. But along with that, what about the cost? It is not at all economical because we are actually leaving so much energy that we could have utilized of concrete. We are just utilizing a small portion of that. In ULM, no safety, or basically very less safety and more economy. Here I will say more safety, less economy. So which is better? The best one is LSM. It is the correct balance of safety and economy. Hence LSM is widely used in today's design philosophies. And in the future lectures as well, we'll be moving ahead with LSM, and in next lectures we'll be seeing how to solve some numericals for limit state method. So that's it for today. Till then, take care. Thank you.